What's up guys, Benny here and welcome to my top 10 best loadouts for Call of Duty Warzone Season 4. I wanted to wait to do this video until the MG82 nerf, just in case they managed to change anything else along with it. But if you are new around here, please do take a second to hit that subscribe button, as 70% of you watching are not subscribed to the channel, and I promise you'll get better at Warzone. But before we get into the first loadout, I also want to say a big thank you to my partners Turtle Beach. If you're looking for a brand new headset, I've used theirs for years. There is a link down in the description below. I use Turtle Beach Elite Pro 2s, just in case you're wondering. But the first loadout we're going to check is two new weapons that came with the MG82 that aren't as overpowered, but are still very, very good. And arguably, the nail gun is pretty overpowered. But we'll start off with the C58. This is a great assault rifle, very much like the AMAX, but a Cold War version of it. It's low fire rate, high damage output, so it's very easy to control and land your shots, but you don't get that higher fire rate, which gives you a larger margin for error. On this, I run the agency suppressor rather than the suppressor, just for the maximum effective damage range, to be perfectly honest with you, and that extra bit of vertical recoil control as well, because we don't run a grip with this build. So that extra vertical recoil control we get the agency suppressor is going to really help that you don't get with the base suppressor. Then I run the 18.5 Task Force barrel, which is pretty standard. Highest bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and vertical recoil. That change to the assault rifle barrels has pretty much made every single weapon from Cold War, out of the assault rifles and LMGs, laser beams, and it's kind of made Modern Warfare assault rifles redundant. Along with that, I use the 45 round mag over the 55. That's because the 45 does the job with the AMAX, and then I don't penalize my aim down sight time. And then I use the actual arms 3 times. I use the Raider stock there as well for faster ADS firing move speed, aim walking movement speed, and sprint to fire time, just so I don't get caught out of sprint to fire. It can very easily happen when you're using an assault rifle, because the sprint fire time can be slow otherwise. And then I pair that with the nail gun. Now, as I said, the nail gun has one of the fastest time to kills up close. There are no attachment changes. I think the only reason not everyone is using it right now is the unlock challenge is a nightmare, where you've got to get 5 eliminations with special weapons in 15 different completed matches, which isn't the easiest, or you've got to buy the blueprint. Either one, but that's one of the reasons. As soon as I think people gain more access to it, I think we're going to see it used a lot more, because inside of buildings, it beats everything. Low bullet velocity, and a small mag size, which can hurt in trios and quads. But otherwise, an unbelievable weapon. And then I run EOD, Overkill, Amped, C4, and Heartbeat Sensor. That's pretty much the same throughout all my classes. I do use different stuff in Rebirth, so let me know if you want me to do a top 10 loadout video for Rebirth as well, down in the comments below. But let's move on to the second loadout, which is the Stoner and the MAC-10. Now, the Stoner has actually become a top tier meta weapon in Warzone. Now, what I run with it personally, I use a base suppressor. Now, the reason I use a suppressor over the agency suppressor is there isn't much recoil to the Stoner as it is. It's really easy to use, but I get that faster aim down sight and sprint to fire time, which is where the LMGs really tend to suffer. So that kind of counters that. And because of that change to the barrel, I can then run the 21.8 Task Force and get that vertical and horizontal recoil control that I need to have with the Stoner, as well as that increased bullet velocity and effective damage range. Then I want to kind of play for more mobility attachments, because there isn't much of a difference between having the 75 round mag and the 75 round fast mag, which is why I don't run an ammo with this thing. I use the actual arms 3 times. I've then got the Raider pad for ADS firing move speed, aim walking movement speed, and sprint to fire time. And I've also got the airborne elastic wrap to have a faster ADS as well. Now, if you do struggle with the recoil with this thing, which you shouldn't really, because it is pretty much a laser beam, you can go ahead and get rid of the Raider pad and put an underbarrel on. But personally, don't think you need it. This is an absolute machine. Then I use the MAC-10 with the Stoner. The MAC-10, one of the best SMGs in the game right now. Agency suppressor, increased damage range, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, sound suppression. It's already got a fast enough ADS. It's got one of the fastest ADS speeds in the game, so you don't need that sound suppressor with it. I then have the 5.9 Task Force. One of the reasons I have this for the strafe speed. I then got the Tiger Team Spotlight, once again increasing my movement speed and aim walking movement speed. 2 mobility attachments that work really nice Raider stock just to work on that sprint to fire time so it can compete with the other SMGs, and then the 53 round mag so I can take multiple people out, because this thing has got a very, very fast rate of fire, so you don't want to burn up your ammo too quickly. That's a great combination. Definitely give it a go. Then moving on to my third class setup, this is probably the meta loadout in the game right now. This is what a lot of the competitors were using in the World Series of Warzone, and is an unbelievable combination. Now, first of all, we've got the Farah. This has been probably buffed the most out of any assault rifle in Season 4. And the loadout, you'll notice, it's like, wait, you're using a suppressor rather than the GRU. Now, there's two reasons for that. First of all, the aim down sight speed with the Farah, with the rest of the build, is pretty slow. So you need something to increase that mobility, that sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. This is going to do that, right? And the recoil is pretty much non-existent with the rest of the build. The GRU suppressor doesn't give you that fast point, and the effective damage range is only an increase of 10%, which is like 4 meters. And because this gun only has 2 damage profiles, that's only going to increase that faster time to kill from like 35 to 40 meters, which isn't that big of a deal. You're better off being able to be higher mobility and get that faster ADS, and you're going to get your shots off quicker. So run the suppressor with this. You've then got the 18.7 Spetsnaz RPK barrel. Best barrel there. Axial arms 3 times. The Spetsnaz grip, this is to counter the recoil that we lose off the agency, and then it means that the gun is an absolute laser with high mobility stats. And I run a 60 round mag there. You can run for the 45 if you're playing in solos and duos, just to have an even faster ADS. Not necessary though. 60 round in trios and quads really helps because it's got a high fire rate. Incredible assault rifle, probably the best in the game right now. Doesn't have the fastest time to kill compared to a few of the others, like the Cold War AK and the C58 have faster time to kills, but this, because of the high fire rate, high margin for error, very easy to use. It is a laser. Give it a go and let me know what you think in the comments. And then we pair that with the Cold War MP5. Now, you'll notice straight away, there is no barrel, but we've got the agency suppressor just to increase that effective damage range and also get that vertical recoil control. Don't need the barrel. You've then got the Tiger Team Spotlight, the Raider stock, the Stagnant 50 round mag, and then the Serpent grip. This is really mobile. It's one of the fastest time to kills out of all the SMGs. And honestly, it's just really, really fun to use. Give it a go. It's one of my favorites right now. This combination is incredible. It's what a lot of the competitors, as I said, were using on World Series of Warzone. And then we don't use a thermite. We use a C4 just to take out vehicles. Like, you can run Semtexes as well if that's what you want. But personally, I always keep a hold of C4s. Now, let's move on to my first sniper class setup in the video with the XM4. Now, the XM4 is one of the most versatile weapons in the game. It's got high fire rate, it's really easy to use, it's good at close range, and it's good at mid-range as well, which is one of the reasons it's a really good sniper support weapon. Run that agency suppressor on there, increase the effective damage range, vertical recoil control. It's great. It's also got good enough mobility stats anyway, so you don't need that base suppressor. Agency suppressor is going to help you out and keep you off radar. You don't need the barrel. If you take the barrel, you're going to penalize your aim walking movement speed, your hip fire accuracy, your aim down sight speed, your sprinting move speed, which is going to make this not viable as a close range SMG. So you've got to ignore the barrel now. It's still got a high, it's still got a higher effective damage range than a lot of SMGs and things, and the rest of your build is going to allow you to kind of make up for it. So Tiger Team Spotlight is going to give you movement speed, aim walking movement speed, that Raider pad that you've got, ADS firing move speed, aim walking movement speed, sprint to fire time, 45 round mag so you don't penalize your ADS. And now I run the Micro Effects LED because it doesn't have the best iron sight in the game, and because I'm pairing this with a Kar 98, it means I can land those shots that are a little further away a little bit easier rather than being obstructed by the iron sight. So that's why I run that. If you didn't want to run that, you could remove that, add the airborne elastic wrap instead. But personally, I like this build with this particular loadout. Kar 98 is what we've known for a while now. Monolithic suppressor, Singuard custom 27.6, tac laser, sniper scope, and the ST Volt precision comb. You don't need the sport comb because the precision comb is giving you better aiming stability. So when you ADS, it's going to be bang on center and you can get those headshots off nice and quickly. Really fun loadout to use. Good at all ranges, and the Kar 98 is incredible at getting those first picks, which are really going to help out your squad. Then we move on to my fifth loadout. We got the PPSH with the Swiss K31. The Swiss is definitely getting a lot more popularity, and the PPSH is just a great SMG now. It's kind of like a hybrid between an SMG and an assault rifle, in my opinion, and this build is really mobile. Now, I run the sound suppressor on it because I want that really fast sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. I know a lot of people use the GRU, but the effective damage range increase you get is like negligible. It's so small, it really does not make a difference. Like being able to get your shots off that little bit quicker are probably going to give you a faster overall time to kill at the ranges you're using the PPSH. I also have kind of gone for a high mobility build. I've got the 15.7 task force, which is going to give me strafe speed, bullet velocity, effective damage range, punishment to vertical and horizontal recoil, but the recoil's not, it's pretty much non-existent on the PPSH. Tiger Team Spotlight for faster movement speed and aim walking movement speed. And then the stock I use, I don't use the Raider stock. I use the Spetsnaz PKM stock. Now, one of the reasons I do this is because in close range fights, especially against controller players that have high aim assist, having high strafe speeds whilst ADSing is one of the few ways that you can break aim assist pretty effectively. So having that Spetsnaz PKM stock is just going to make it feel like you're on skates when you're going left and right. And then when you throw slides and stuff in there as well, you're just a lot more mobile than you are the Raider stock. And like your sprint to fire time and ADS firing move speed is still very high with the PPSH. And that's why I go for that. It's more of a gameplay thing. Like the stat side isn't necessarily going to show you faster sprint to fire speed and things like that. But an actual gameplay experience, that's going to be better overall. And then I run the 55 round drum as well. But love this PPSH build. Really fun to use, especially since they buffed the iron sights on this as well. And then with that, I pair it with the Swiss K31. This is pretty much the alternative to the Kar 98. It's been buffed consistently. GRU suppressor, 24.9 combat recon, the SWAT 5 MW laser, which gives you aim down sight time and aiming stability, pretty much the tac laser of the Cold War snipers. The bruiser grip then gives you a higher movement speed, but more importantly for me is that aiming stability. That means that I can get those headshots quickly, so I can center on an opponent, aim down sight, and it's going to snap straight to where I'm kind of centering onto my target. It's going to be a lot easier to get those headshots nice and quickly. And then Serpent Grip just for a faster ADS speed. Really fun sniper to use, clean sights, and with that PPSH, great combination overall. Now, if we move on to our sick loadout, we've got my long range AK build. Now, the Cold War AK47, I've built in the same way as my Farah. Now, I've removed the GRU suppressor because vertical recoil control is so easy to control, especially with all the changes that they've made to the game. And that 10% increase you get with the GRU isn't a big deal with these Cold War assault rifles that have two damage profiles. You've got your first damage range, which is normally up to around 25 to 30 meters. And then 30 meters plus, you get your second damage range. And this is only making a difference between about 4 meters rather than the suppressor, which makes it a lot more mobile and effective with the fast-paced nature of Warzone. This can beat the Farah in time to kill. Like, it is that good of a gun. So you put the suppressor on there. You've got that Spetsnaz RPK barrel for the effective damage range, horizontal recoil control, and vertical recoil control. Got the action alarms 3 times, the 45 round mag, and then the Spetsnaz grip. It's going to give you that recoil control you need. Then if you're running a high FOV with effective FOV as well, like, this thing does not move. And it is so good. And because of that faster ADS, it works at mid to long range. Trust me, give it a go. If you don't like the Farah, this is what you want to give a go. And then I'm using the Milano. Now, the Milano is an interesting weapon. It has been the stinker of stinkers for as long as I can remember now. And now it's very, very good. Sound suppressor. Got this. Once again, the damage profiles on this mean that sounds, you don't need the agency. Sound suppressor for the high mobility. I use that 10.6 task force. Yes, you get a punishment to recoil. Milano doesn't have much recoil anyway, but I do it for the strafe speed. I'm trying to break aim assist as much as I can in these close range engagements. So having high strafe speeds gives me that additional mobility that's going to win me gunfights, because someone's like trying to just like lock on and snap onto you, and you're just kind of like going left, right, left, right, left, right. They can't track you as easily. Gonna win you gunfights. And then if you've seen a load of content on how aim assist works, you can even take advantage of aim assist even more with high strafe speeds, because it just kind of like tracks your target with no controller. It's kind of broken, to be honest. Reason I run the SAS combat stock with this as well rather than the Raider is so I've got that firing movement speed and ADS firing movement speed, because I'm not trying, normally when I'm going into a fight, I kind of anticipate that I'm going into it and I ADS into the fight. So that's why I've got that. Then got the Stagnag 55 round drum to kind of wrap that up. Great combination once again. Then if we go into 7th, we've got the Farah with the Bullfrog. That's the same Farah build that we saw earlier. Unbelievable weapon build up, but the Bullfrog is a very underrated SMG. I feel like it had a bit of limelight, then the Season 4 came out and it kind of lost it a bit. Still, it's up there as one of the best SMGs in the game. Like, the SMGs are as balanced as anything right now. And I use the same sort of build as I use with a Milano. Got that Groove Suppressor on there, the 7.4 Task Force, Tiger Team Spotlight. I use the Groove here just because of the extra damage range on the Bullfrog actually does kind of help. And it's got high mobility anyway, so you don't need that ADS increase. Then I got the Spetsnaz PKM stock for that firing movement speed and ADS firing move speed. Pair that with a Bruiser Grip, which increases my movement speed and hip fire accuracy, which is very, very helpful in pulling off flanks. And really, if you can control the recoil on like the Milano as well, if I quickly just go back, you could potentially change out that Tiger Team Spotlight for that underbarrel. You've got, or take away the Task Force. Personally, I prefer that build, but you've got options. There are many options depending on your playstyle and how you feel the weapon, but this is a great Bullfrog build that I know a lot of people have used to get high kill games. And it's one thing I love with Warzone at the moment. You've got so much choice, and there are so many combinations that work now. Then 8th, we've got the Krig, which is a pretty good gun. It's not as powerful as like the Farah or the Cold War AK, though it's just very easy to use. It kind of reminds me of the Kilo. Like, if you struggle to control recoil, use this Krig. Agency Suppressor, 15-inch CMV mil spec, axial arms 3 times, the 60-round mag, and then the airborne elastic wrap. It's really easy to use, doesn't have as fast a time to kill as some of the other weapons, but it's nice to mix things up. And sadly, I lose the Dragon Head with the CMV. Like, that barrel looks so cool, but you know, you got to make sacrifices to have the best build, and that is it, because, you know, the CMV mil spec now gives vertical, horizontal, effective damage range, and bullet velocity, which is actually the thing that the Krig missed before. It didn't have a barrel that did effective damage range and bullet velocity. It now does. It's more viable and better than it ever has been. Give it a go. And I use that with the LC10, which is Agency Suppressor, 13.9-inch Task Force barrel, Tiger Team Spotlight, SAS combat stock, because the mobility on the LC10 suffers. That combat stock gives you a bit more than you would have otherwise, and it's an SMG. It's already got fast sprint to fire speeds and things like that. You don't need it as much. It's going to help you strafe and not make you feel as stiff, as which is my main tripe with the LC10 compared to other SMGs. You do kind of aim down sight and then you're kind of stuck. It feels like you're stuck in the mud. And now I use the 55-round mag with that to finish that up. Then for the 8th class, I had to include it, the AMAX. It's not as dominant as it was, but it is still a very good gun. It's still up there in the top 5 assault rifles. It's worth using if you've got it ranked up and you don't have other stuff ranked. Monolithic Suppressor, Zodiac Barrel, VLK 3x optic, Commander full grip, 45-round mag. Really, really nice assault rifle still. I'm kind of sad that it's not as dominant as it once was, but it's nice to get a bit of variety into the game, which is cool. And I pair that with that Cold War MP5, Agency Suppressor, Tiger Team Spotlight, Raider stock, 50-round drum, Serpent grip. Really good combination. And then my final class is my utility class. This is effectively the assault rifle that I'm using at the time with Ghost. All right, this is what I grabbed from the second loadout. So I have all the 3 perks that I need. Obviously, we'll have C4 there rather than a Thermite, but it's got that Farah on there at the moment because this best assault rifle in the game right now. But there we have it. Those are my top 10 loadouts to use in Call of Duty Warzone Season 4 after the MG82 nerf. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Share any combinations that you have as well or that you want me to try out. And I will see you next time for more Call of Duty Warzone. Thanks for watching.